All right, Danny Long. Great to have you here, man.
Good to be here.
For the people watching or listening, I know a lot of the guys that I've interviewed and women that I've interviewed to this point. This is the first time we've ever met, so it's great to meet you. Heard a lot about you. We did have a phone call,
Yeah.
and man, ever since that phone call, I've been super excited for this because I think this is going to be a great episode. And just so one of the main things about this podcast is to humanize police and kind of show people the side that they never see, and maybe someday help with recruiting. That's another goal. But we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. How many shootings have you been in? Just in law enforcement?
Four.
Okay. You did have a time in the military as well. We'll kind of go through that a little bit. But what I'd like to do is if you could just give me like a 2 or 3 minute cap on your career with law enforcement, just as far as the dates and where you were, where you left from. I'll go over some of your awards you've gotten,
Okay.
and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So my professional career in law enforcement, I started with OUPD in Norman. I'm still going to college, and I was only there about a year before I got on the highway patrol in Oklahoma. Soon as I finished my probationary period, 1 year, I I was I tried out for the tactical team and got on it immediately. And that was really the only reason I wanted to join the patrol. I had no interest in writing tickets or working crashes. I'd met some guys wearing the green uniform
Mhm.
years ago, maybe at a gas station or something, and caught my eye. And I found out later what they were about, and I'm like, man, I think that'd be a good fit for me. And so that was my main purpose in life, and really professionally, that's really the only thing I wanted to do is full-time TAC team. And just a few years of being on, I began to run the team, and there was a lot of changeover, a lot of older guys moving on, transitioning, retiring, and just slot opened up, and so um, I thought life was really good, at work, at home, it was a disaster, and I'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Mhm.
On the professional side, ended up getting fired one night from the tactical team, and they were also going to come after my job as a trooper.
So what year did you start?
1999.
And then what year did you start with OU?
I was there
98?
90, late 97.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
And then what year is this you're talking about?
So I would have got on the tactical team '01,
Okay.
I believe. And so I believe I was removed, not removed, I was terminated
Mhm.
that night on a mission based on an officer safety call that I made.
Mhm.
And when I found out they were going to come after my job, I said my personal life was a disaster. Wasn't thinking clearly. Obviously, as you'll learn, I called up some friends that had transitioned from the military service to some of these other government agencies, working abroad. And I got in the pipeline. My first workup was with Blackwater, and Blackwater had a hitch in the road in Iraq, and that was going to be my contract for PSD work. So the contract changed to triple canopy,
Mhm.
and so I went through the triple canopy vetting, or it was actually vetting back then, and a train up. Then I went to their firearms instructor course as well, and a few months later, I'm in Iraq, and I think I got hired triple canopy end of '09, and by May of 2011, was it? eye-opener for me. Big Army had pulled out of Iraq at that point, and there was just PSD teams and some specialized groups running around over there, but there was no direct support. I mean, if you get hurt, the trauma center at BIOP ran by the military was gone. So if you get a bad injury, your chances of survival are really going down. Bin Laden was killed in May of 2011, and that one was an eye-opener. What happened the following days after that, I mean, there was pretty much on lockdown. That there was a lot of rumors and speculation that there's going to be trying to think of the right word, an attack across the whole Middle East on anybody foreign, especially from the U.S. And we experienced some of that. But that one, when it was over, I'm like, what am I even doing here? I'm just here making a paycheck, not anything patriotic. And the new chief of the Highway Patrol called him from the embassy in Baghdad. I said, Danny Long, sir, can I have my job back? And he hired me over the phone. So it took a few months to get out of there. I believe it was July, August of 2011 when I came back, and they put me on the road and down to southern Oklahoma, trying to work things out with my ex at that time. Just didn't happen. And I call that that's when the shooting season started. Whether me directly being in them or in the middle of it. I had a couple of shootings down there, and as a road trooper, one of them was a felon being chased by U.S. Marshals out of Dallas, and I got recruited to the Marshals from that shooting. So I moved over to the Marshal Service in 2012, and I was there till the end of 2018, and a few more big shootings happened during that point. And I was actually off for almost 9-10 months recovering from that one. That's when I started having the idea of, because I was getting my personal life back together. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to get through this. And that's where the First Responder Wellness Division was born. And by 2019, I'd written an 8-year plan to implement for the state. And, I presented it. They bit. Like, let's do it. I never intended it for me to run it, but, God had another plan. My plan was to retire as soon as I got off medical leave. So that's what I've been doing since 2019. And just as of last week, I found out I'm moving to Cleat. So I'm leaving the Wellness Division November 1, 2025, and I'm taking the Deputy Director's position down there. So a lot of my career has been in the training world, whether it be academy setting or continuing ed, firearms tactics, driving. And that's another, to me, God opened that door. And this is where I hopefully get to end my stamp and chance to really give back to really improve training here in Oklahoma for our basic police academies.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And for the people who don't know, CLEAT is the Oklahoma Certified Law Enforcement Education and Training.
Right.
So you handle all the departments outside of Oklahoma City, Tulsa. Is that it? And then OHP?
Yes. And so CLEAT sets a curriculum that all basic academies have to follow. And that's going to be, the director and I have been meeting daily. As a matter of fact, I've been on the phone with him all morning driving down from Tulsa. One of our main things we're going to tackle is curriculum overhaul here. It's so out of date.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Been passed. The buck has been passed for the former directors that it's going to be a task. But him and I, we're stubborn. We're ready to tackle that.
That's awesome.
So I think here's what people's going to see for myself and my friend that's taking over the director's position at Cleat, um, we're gonna when we do this curriculum overhaul,
Mhm.
I think this is what's going to set the stage for us being director and deputy director is that we want and value input from every agency in the state, every
Mhm.
chief, every sheriff, every lead administrator, because it's not about us. It's about the
Mhm.
people that's working
Yep.
and protecting all of us to give them the most um, opportunity to come and learn in the basic academy through relevant curriculum.
Mhm.
So that's priority one for us, and we're going to tackle that one head on.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna read off some of your awards right quick.
Yeah.
You had the Medal of Valor, Oklahoma Peace Officers Association 2013, Trooper of the Year, Valor 2012, Medal of Valor, Committee of 100, OKC, that's 2013 and 2022, Street Warrior Award with Oklahoma Gang Investigators Association in 2018, Top Cop, runner-up, United States Department of Justice, that was in DC 2019, and National Award for Heroism, Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association 2019.
Yep.
So you've had a hell of a career, not only just in law enforcement, but also on the contractor side, which we're going to get into a little bit. This is going to be a longer interview than what we normally do, so I'm going to kind of skip some of the things we normally kind of talk about, the Trooper Academy and so forth. But I would like to know kind of like where you grew up, you know, kind of your family life growing up and what led you to law enforcement.
So this is probably going to be the last time I go through this whole story,
Mhm.
and I wasn't when Derek called me about this and told me about what y'all are doing. He didn't get into the weeds of the why behind it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the gunfight story
Yeah.
anymore. He said, no, they're really wanting to humanize
Mhm.
what's going on at home, at work. I'm like, okay, I can get down with that.
Mhm.
And I talked to my wife um, last week. I said, I think I'm ready to move on past this.
Mhm.
But I even prayed about it, and felt very compelled to come. But I really think it's to get it on record and ready to move on, and
Mhm.
hopefully it can help somebody coming up along the way because there's going to be problems. But yeah, my childhood was interesting. I grew up on a farm and ranch operation um, in Murray County, north of Sulphur,
Mhm.
and we had a pretty big farm and ranch, like I said. And we rodeoed. We had our own arena. We roped mainly. We did these things called ranch rodeos. Was just it's brutal. I mean, the first time I ever got knocked out was in a ranch rodeo. Got ran over. But I I was alone a lot. I spent a lot of time in the woods
Mhm.
early on. I was very comfortable in the woods. I killed my first deer with a bow at 10 years old, and a good friend of ours that my stepdad hunted with, grew up with, rodeoed together. Um, Mentor of mine in the hunting side, just a good person. Yeah, I mean, 30 minutes after I killed this deer, I run back to the house and said, well, I just killed one. Nobody believed me. And I'm like, no, I shot one. It's a little buck. So I wanted to call my friend, my dad's friend.
Mhm.
So he comes over. We get the deer, we skin it. He's Native American and traditional. I mean, this guy runs around in loincloth still
Oh, wow.
and buckskins. He's got his buffalo farm down there and has a real teepee that I've slept in
Mhm.
many a nights. One of those, I mean, real thing. Skins a deer and leaves. And a few months later, he calls me and we stopped by after church one night. He'd made a quiver, an arrow quiver out of my first bow kill.
Wow.
And my second bow kill, just a few months later, he made a pair of moccasins for me. I still have all that stuff, just it really, I mean, I love to hunt. I love to bow
Mhm.
hunt. And, but that it wasn't real pleasant. My stepdad was not emotional at all. And so the uh, good man. It just not emotional.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that had an effect in me in this way. I mean, it did have an effect on me, but there was two things that happened around 10, 11 years old that where I really thought about, I think I'm different.
Mhm.
And here's what I mean by it. The first one, we always went and picked his mother up for church,
Mm.
Sunday morning, night, and Wednesday night on the way to church from our farm. And we pull up there on a Sunday evening, and there's my step grandmother and this man. I didn't know who it was. We're having a conversation on her porch. She had a bunch of land also. Well, couldn't find out he'd been leasing the land and was behind on payments. And so I'm sitting in the back car, just not paying attention as a 10, 11-year-old would do.
Mhm.
Then I hear escalation, and they move into the house. So I get out. My mom's in there at this point, and very protective of my mom, always have been. And so I walk in, and it's getting heated. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
like, okay. And my mom tries to go get in between them to calm both men down. That guy shoves my mom, and she had this little gold pine cone necklace that
Mhm.
my dad, they hunted in Colorado since '68. He'd bought her this recently when they returned. And I saw the pine cone break off. I could see it flying through the air. And I always carried a knife on me. But
Mhm.
I mean, pretty big knife for a kid.
Mhm.
It was a buck folder, probably 4 or 5 inch blade. And when I seen that man touch my mom, my stepdad hit him, knocked him to the ground. Well, I already had my knife out, and I was in the air. I was just gonna stab this guy right in the throat. I mean, I was looking at his throat, and I'm coming. And my stepdad sees me, and he kicks me midair, and I go flying, drop my knife, and I get back up, and I find my knife, and I went, "No, I'm not done yet."
Mhm.
And by the time I found my knife, my stepdad had beat this guy just senseless. I mean, just a bloody pulp. And my mom, she seen what I'd done, and it bothered her that I went straight to that. I mean, I'm gonna kill this guy. Like I said, I had to been 10 or 11. A few months later, the second time, I'm like, okay, I'm not like my other friends. My mom and I returned home on a Wednesday night after church. I don't know where my stepdad was. He was gone somewhere. And our house sat about a half mile off this county road, no other houses anywhere near. And so my mom and I were walking in the front door, and it's open. And I look, and I can see the house has been turned upside down. So I grab her. I'm like, go back in the car. She's like, what are you going to do? I said, get in the car. We at our where our table was, our dinner table was about 15 feet just inside the front door, and behind it, my stepdad had this wooden. You've probably seen them, a wooden gun cabinet
Mhm.
with
Yep.
glass on it.
Yep.
No safety or anything, just for show.
Yeah.
Well, there was 2 or 3 shotguns in there and a bolt action. And I looked, I could see there was at least one shotgun in there, and I knew where there was ammo underneath it. So I stupid, I shouldn't have done it. I ran, grabbed the ammo first, and started putting rounds in that 12 gauge, and I started clearing the house. And
And
my
you're 11?
11 or 12
Wow.
at this point,
Oh.
and no tactical training other than me watching. Chuck Norris is my idol. You know, I knew every Chuck Norris movie, so I'm probably basing Tactics on Lone Wolf McQuade, or that was my show. But I didn't know my mom had got out of the car. And as I'm clearing the house, I'm just like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker, when I find you. Every room I clear, I'm like, you're gonna fucking die tonight. And I was saying it loud, my mom heard it. And I cleared the whole house, went upstairs, cleared it, and there was from their bedroom was upstairs. My dad had built a deck right outside their bedroom window with stairwell. Also, could get down. I don't know if he heard me, thinking, "Hey, this crazy kid's coming to kill me," but that door was open. And I obviously went out the back, but I came back to check on my mom. She's up crying. "I can't believe you just said all that." And I'm like, "Said what?" She said, "I heard you." She's like, almost like, "What's wrong with you?"
Mm,
You know, and I wondered that too. I'm like, is something wrong with me? But I just always felt like I was a protector
mhm,
for whatever reason. And I think that's why God built me.
mm,
And, and interesting though, my stepdad was hard. And for a lot of years, I resented him. And I've never told this story before. Never told my mom this. Just recently talked to my wife about it. And this one messed me up for a while until my first gunfight. So I had a year round,
mhm,
whatever was in season, I was killing it and eating it. It was in the winter. There was snow on the ground. We were in the front pasture and I was hunting rabbits. And he'd walked out there with me. We were walking through and I'd killed a few already. And there was one rabbit I couldn't see, but he saw it. He's like, "Kill that rabbit." And I'm like, "I can't see it." So I go down to a prone position, hoping I can see it. I can't. He's like, "Shoot it." So I just shot and I missed it and ran off. He said, "Don't get up." And I'm looking around. We found this, I don't know where he got it because we're in the middle of the field, but it was a stick. And he started beating me with the stick. And I'm in a fetal position. And I didn't, I had some bad thoughts that night about him.
mm,
Thought about killing him, to be honest. There'd been some other stuff go on too. But what it did, here's the positive thing. I didn't get paid. Um, I got like maybe $20 every few weeks. And I worked all the time on the farm. What I Back then ammo was cheap, especially 22 ammo. You could buy 1,000 rounds for $15
mhm,
maybe. I started saving all my ammo or all my money that I had in my pile, and I bought tens of thousands of rounds of 22. Every time we went to Walmart, I'd buy all they would sell me. And I shot and shot and shot. I mean, you're not supposed to be able to shoot a 22 out, I don't think, but I went through several. And I didn't miss anymore. And that first gunfight, I remembered that as it was about to happen. Uh, and I, and I've always used that in that way to like, I ain't missing you.
mhm,
Um, we look at that dot, front sight, whatever I'm shooting at the time, and I never missed. So it's bad in one way, and it took me a long time to get over that to where I didn't just hate the man, but it changed something in me that even when I was training and I had my own range, I trained at least 5 days a week. Every time I would pick up a gun, it wasn't for fun. It was
mhm,
like, I never wanna miss again. Um, so that's probably not the right way to motivate your son to be more proficient, but it worked for me.
And how old were you when that happened?
Uh, I think I was still 12, maybe
Right.
13.
Did you see the rabbit miss or just you didn't
I
see
never
it get
could see
shot?
it.
Yeah.
I never could see it. I'd
Yeah.
missed a deer. I never liked rifle hunting with the deer. It just wasn't a challenge to me.
Mhm.
I like being close. The whole thing of bow hunting, prep work, doing your homework, finding their patterns out where they are, watching them up close. And I never got excited really about shooting one with a rifle. No, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
I've shot a lot of deer with rifle, mainly to eat them, but I missed a buck previous to that because I never could see him. A really big buck. I didn't see him till he took off running.
Mhm.
That my stepdad had spotted, and I got flack over that one too. That was right before that rabbit thing happened.
Mhm.
But yeah, it switched something in my brain that years later I would find out to be a positive thing.
Mhm. You had mentioned earlier about you saw some of the guys in the green uniforms.
Mm.
How old were you there and what impacted that? Or what was it about that that made you wanna look into that?
Uh, I don't remember. Well, I do remember the first time I've seen troopers driving around. So here was my first official encounter with the highway patrol. So when I turned 16, I moved out and moved in with my grandparents in Stratford, and that's where I went to school. And I had my own cows growing up till then, so I had my own money. And when I left the farm, I sold my cows, and I had 20 something $1,000 in the bank. Thought I was rich, and
Mhm.
I bought my first car, and it was an older Camaro IROC. My granddad was a mechanic. He had to overhaul the motor. And why they let me buy this IROC is I would never let me at that age buy an IROC.
Yeah.
I was a wild man. I bought the thing when I was 15. I didn't have my permit. So my granddad overhauled this motor and they'd go to bed, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I'd wait, make sure they were asleep. And I'd push my car down the road and I'd go meet my friends and go party. I'd drive to Ada, no permit, no license. So one night I'm over there and I'm sure I've been drinking. I'm gonna sneak back over to Stratford. And as I'm coming out of Ada, there's two deputies. And this car it would go.
Mhm.
And they hit the lights. I'm like, no, you can't catch me. And I hammered. I mean, I stomped on that thing and I lost them.
Mhm.
Not thinking, stayed on Highway 19, not thinking I might have a buddy in front of me. Well, I stayed on 19, and as I come over this last little crest coming into Stratford, they had a roadblock set up,
Mm.
Stratford PD's finest. And I was running 130, 140, so I'm on the brakes, locking it up. Had my T-tops off too,
Mhm.
and I had long hair, I had a long mullet, was the whole thing back then. And they were at gunpoint telling me to get out of the car, and I was just about to put it in reverse, and this car slid up behind me. I couldn't tell, I just knew it was a cop car. They blocked me in, so like, yeah, all right, they got me. I put it in park, and I just get an exit on my own.
Mhm.
Next thing I felt was somebody grabbed my mullet, and it was about that long, and extracted me from this car, followed by a series of get right
Mhm.
to, I don't know if he's kicking me or punching me, but I was on the ground and it hurt. I could tell whoever this man was a man. and his punches meant something. And I heard the Stratford police chief hollering, recognized me finally. Said, "Hey, stop! He's a kid." Well, he said, "Well, he's acting like a man tonight, and he's going to get man treatment," and gave it to me a little bit more. So I got arrested that night. They impounded my car, and that was a interesting phone call. That was the first or second time I got arrested, and so what was interesting about that, I'm still going to church, acting like a good kid on Sundays.
Mhm.
My youth leader happened to be the DA, Pontotoc County. So I woke up the next morning. They kicked me, like, "Get on the phone right now." Picked it up. It's that youth leader.
Mhm.
It's Danny. I don't believe what I'm being told right now. I was like, "Ma'am, I don't believe it." Um, she like, "You listen, do not lie to me. Not when on one thing." She said, "I'm reading the report. Do not lie." And well, it was an interesting conversation. I ended up, I don't know if I had to pay a fine, but I didn't have to go to court. And they were going to delay my license maybe, but I ended up getting it too when I turned 16.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was the second time I got arrested. I had a little run in with Stratford PD again, some fireworks and some old people
Mhm.
that so and I never thought I wanted to be in law. I hated cops. Was anti anything of authority. That was not on my radar. But I remember that ass whooping I took at 15 by that trooper. And when I started, so I don't know what year, maybe 17, 18, probably 18, I started seeing more, maybe paying attention more about the troopers.
Mhm.
And then I would see some of their tag team guys, didn't know what it was, but that really grabbed my attention. Then I started doing my own investigation, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I think that's what I want to go do, which shocked everybody. I mean, all my friends didn't believe it. I tried to go, they have this thing called Cadet Lawman every year that they take high school seniors
Mhm.
and they mentor them. I try to get in that program, and they're like, "No, you can't go to that. You've been arrested. You got long hair. You're just, you don't fit this mold. You're never going to be a cop." I'm like, okay. Um, but that really set the tone. Um, I believe what kind of got me moving that route. There was some, I've had multiple run-ins with law enforcement, over the years, during that period, but, um, I don't really know what was the final thing, like, I wanna go be a trooper,
Mhm.
but I knew by the time I was 18, that's what I wanted to go do.
Mhm.
So, my I don't know, do we wanna get into this now, or do we?
Well, so when you did finally make that move with the arrests and stuff, what was that like when you applied? Did they
Well, me being a juvenile, it was never on
Okay,
the record.
so it was, yeah, it was off the record then. And then, how did you get how long did it take you to get hired?
I got hired the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, well, you tell me. So where were you about to go when you said
Well, I think I need to talk about my wife real quick,
Yeah, yeah.
because I met her, and she moved down there in 6th grade.
Mhm,
We started dating late junior high, maybe 10th grade, and I always knew, I mean, we're gonna be married, and that was the plan. And when I started focusing on the future and not just having a good time every Friday and Saturday night, it became clear. I mean, she had a plan. She was to go to RN school at East Central, follow her grandmother's footsteps. I knew before we graduated, I know I wanted to join the highway patrol, and I wanted to start that path and doing everything necessary to get there. So I initially joined the National Guard in Oklahoma, went to Fort Benning, um, 94, 95 as I was at Fort Benning. And and I think I proposed one of those trips coming home.
Mhm.
And we talked about it a lot, but I there was an interesting event at Fort Benning. I believe I just started infantry school, and like we were getting towards the end, towards graduation. I knew because my wife and my mom were going to fly out for that graduation. So we had to been within a week or so of graduation, and there was a guy that just lost it one night, and we just got back to the barracks, started cleaning gear, and I mean, I think we'd been out for several days, and everybody just wanted to lay down, and so I always slept with my wool blanket over my head, and I started hearing this noise coming down the barracks. It was open bay barracks, all male. And as it got closer, I'm like, "What is that?" And I could hear it sound like somebody getting hit with some object. Well, this guy was, I think, he had combat boots. He had, I don't think he had an e-tool. There was some other, I can't remember what else he had, but he was like smashing people. And I'm like, man, and it's dark in there, but I
Mhm.
could just see his outline and I could hear people kind of moaning. So he hits my buddy next to me, and I'm up standing on the bunk. And as he turns around, I just smash him and knocks him out cold. It was a perfect hit. I mean, smashed flat in his nose, blood everywhere. He's not moving. And my buddy's like, "You killed him." And I'm like, "No, he's not dead." But it looked like he'd been gutted. 'Cause everybody's getting up now. Lights are coming on. We drag him to the shower. I'm like, "Let's roll him over because he's still bleeding real bad." And I'm like, "I, I got to get some sleep." So a short time later, I feel somebody kick my bunk. And I'm like, okay, he's coming back for some payback. So I just jump up and I smash the first thing I could see. It was an MP. And that was probably, and I've had my nose pushed in several times and got my butt whipped. But that was the worst beating I ever took because he had four more buddies that I
Mhm.
didn't see.
Mhm.
And when I saw the MP logo, it was too late. I'd already smashed him.
Mhm.
And that was an ass whooping because they all got in on it, and they carried these batons, these wooden stick, straight batons. And I was trying to give up, but um, being a cop, you touch one of us,
Mhm.
that's my line. Put your hands on me, I'm gonna get you.
Mhm.
And so I'm in my issued brown underwear. That's all I had on. I felt this stick going up underneath my rib cage, and I started peeing on myself. I mean, it hurt so bad, and they handcuffed me, and they started hog tying me, and by that time, I'm mad, and I'm threatening people, "Get off me, I'm gonna kill you," and they carry me down out of the barracks like that, throw me in the car, bump me into stuff. I mean, I'm getting scraped up by then. They take me to the brig and set me in a chair, still handcuffed in my pissed underwear. And there was this female MP that comes in, and I'm not talking at this point. I'm in
Mhm.
the red. And she's asking me information. All I give her was name, rank, and social security number. Over and over, she slapped me. And I sat there overnight. And that was a long night. And my CO shows up the next morning. I could hear him yelling, want to know where's Long, just back and forth. And finally, he comes to the door, and his son, and man, that's the first time I was glad to see that man at that point. And he got me out of there. Actually, finally got it all worked out because they were going to press charges on me until they figured out what all had happened. And I actually, my wife and mom got there like 2 days later. I actually ended up getting an extra day off with them out of this whole deal, so it worked out. But it was an interesting time. And so my wife and I, we get married. Well, I come back, I start college, I go to EMT school, trying to check all these boxes that to make me a better applicant, get in front of people. She's finishing up her RN program. I'm starting college. And we get married. And man, life's good. Got it all figured out. So I get a job at OUPD in Norman. I think I'm still in college then. In 97, then I get hired by the Highway Patrol in 99. And things are falling into place. I get recruited to the TAC team right after. My wife and I are just happy, a good couple. And right after I got on the tactical team, as I was coming on, there was a member that was from the tactical team that was murdered on a warrant service. I wasn't there that night, but I was assigned his family for all the court proceedings that came. That one did something to me because the court proceedings were horrible. It was a mistrial. And me being with the family every day, I got close to them. His wife, the trooper's wife, she aged like right in front of me. And it was just taking her human soul. And he had 2 little kids too. And I noticed something was changing in me. I'm very violent all the time. I never did get physical with my wife, but I wanted to be physical with everybody else, and I didn't know what to do about it. And during that right months later, I start cheating on my wife, start drinking heavily. Keep in mind, we have 2 kids, 2 young kids on the ground too. Divorced a short time later. That was never in the plan. And because of work, I'm showing up. I'm a leader. I'm doing my job plus, and I like to work. So from the outside, looking at the uniform, I think I'm good, but I was anything but good. So I get moved into a leadership role on the tactical team, doing really good there. Really, because that's all I had at that point. And I started thinking about, I would think about this often, how this was affecting my kids and my wife, because she was my friend long before anything else. And it was weird. But it just bothered me. And so a few years later, we're at a call out down on the Texas border. And I made a judgment call to not let a Texas team intertwine with our group that's going in this house for an officer safety reason. And there was somebody political from the Texas side there that didn't like that call, that made a call to the chief's commissioner's office in the city. And I wasn't very well liked by that commissioner. And I was fired that night. And that one hurt because that's all I wanted to do. And I remember going home by myself, drinking more, and ultimately, I found out they were gonna try to terminate me as a trooper also, because they were gonna send me back to the road. And, I'm like, I'm not giving you that satisfaction. So when I reached out to some people I knew had transitioned over to some other groups and for DOD, Department of State, and got in the pipeline and really worked there and really never thought I would come back home. And here's why. I remember getting to Iraq. Um, the first or second night I laid down, we were in Baghdad at the old Blackwater camp. And so I had a room to myself there, a small room about the size of this for me to use. But I laid down, I'm like, I'm never going home. This is the best thing ever. And here's what I mean by that. I didn't have to worry about the phone call. Hey, the dog's sick. Kids got it. Have this event. The toilet's leaking.
Mhm.
I was worried about me and my small group of team because it was wake up, mission plan, eat, maybe have a mission or two a week, work out, repeat. And I mean, all you'd have to worry about is getting hit by an IED or mortar every evening after evening prayer. And I'm like, and food poisoning. Um, that's it. I'm like, I was getting paid. Man, I think I was making 18, 20,000 a month. Yeah. And it was, I had no intention of coming back.
Mhm.
But that tells you where my mindset was.
Mhm.
My kids are still little, and I volunteered to go do this to stay away from them.
Mhm.
And me looking back on it now makes me sick to my stomach what I
Mhm.
did. That I regret every moment of that, just being away from them because they didn't ask for it. That one hurt them. One of the, and I would come back about every 90, 120 days,
Mhm.
stay for a few weeks. There was one time, this is the first time it happened to me. The second time, I'll tell you, it happened in 2015. I picked my daughter up to take her to school. She second or third grade, maybe.
Mhm.
And I had one of those flip phones back then. And she would always grab my flip phone and take pictures of whatever. I never knew what was going to be on my phone. She snaps a picture of me. I didn't know it. So every time I would get back on the plane to go back over, I would open up and go through these pictures.
Mhm.
A lot of times of it was a her. And I seen this dude and I looked at it. I'm like, who is this asshole? And why is he on my phone? I mean, I had a longer beard and hair and I I didn't recognize me. That that was weird. Never happened before. And I just stared at it for a long time. I'm like, probably the first time too, I I'm like, I realized something's my humanity is gone.
Mhm.
First indicator. So that one bothered me. Um, and I don't know why. There's little things like that that
Mhm.
I still got that photo somewhere. I look at it occasionally just as like never going back to that
Mhm.
guy. Um, anyway, fast forward to 2018 or 2011 of May, Bin Laden is killed. I wake up. I don't remember if I'm at Camp Blackwater or another camp north of Baghdad. No, we were north of Baghdad. Um, so small team I'd been with for a while. We knew each other well. Saw my team leader, former SEAL, and he had us all come together around one of our trucks, one of the Suburbans, and he had this look on his face. I mean, I'm like, I knew something was up. And he's like, "Hey, Bin Laden just been murdered by SEAL teams." Like, everybody was happy. Like, it's the good news. The bad news is everybody's pissed off and wants some payback over here now. So we were going to make a run to try to get back to the embassy. We were ordered to lock down in place, and that camp was not very big. Not very big at all. I don't know if it was a former combat outpost, but it wasn't very big. So we locked it down, and we started getting ready. And that first night, it kind of hit me as like, how's this going to work out? Because there's only so many of us there. And Big Army, like I said, it's not in Iraq. They were our 911. Our second 911 was some of our brothers at the embassy team, and they were ordered not, we couldn't move to or from, no air assets, nothing. I mean, all they had then was some little birds, some of the contract Blackwater little birds over there. And I remember I was talking to one of my good friends I still talk to occasionally, an SF guy from the Army. Like, man, I mean, we're counting ammo, loading mags, making perimeter plans of if they blow the T-wall, what's our route of escape out of here, where we going to congregate, meet, where we're going to fight, everything.
How many guys did you have at that time?
I don't remember how many were in the camp.
But not big.
No. They're all small team element guys, all from different branches of the military service. I mean, good dudes, but you're fighting 1,000 people,
Numbers.
50 of you.
Yeah, numbers, man.
I mean, we had belt feds, we had 249s. They took our 240s away from us because they were not politically correct for us to have, is what we were told by State Department. But they let us keep 249s, and of course that gun up there on the wall. If you were qualified with it, we had SR-25s. Everybody had 14.5-inch ARs, Glock 19s, a lot of firepower. But by the end of that night, when we'd made our plan of what our team is going to do, I sat down beside one of the Suburbans and always carried a notepad with me, and I'm going to write a letter to my kids, and I write it out, and it was more probably the unknown, what was about to come. I mean, you're always going to worst case scenario, hoping it's not as bad. But I write this letter out, apologizing for what I've done to them. I'm crying. First time I'd cried in a long time. And I'm like, why'd I write this? If something does happen, they're not going to find it. I stuck it back in my pocket and went on, and things settled down over there pretty quickly. Within a few days, we were able to get back to the embassy, but that's when I was like, why am I even here? I'm for a paycheck. Nothing at all patriotic about what I felt was going on there. So made a call, like I said, new chief at the Highway Patrol from the embassy in Baghdad. He gave me my job back, and I started the process to come back. My wife and I, we're not remarried at that point. Anyone, we're still divorced. I call her my wife, but I went to her and I was like, "Hey, I want to work this out." Just being back here, thought everything's going to be great. Any day in the U.S. is going to be an easy day. and that lasted for about a month. And the mask, I mean, you can only wear a Halloween mask for so long. And things started coming up. I never dealt with anything of what happened to me to cause the first divorce while I ran to Iraq. Um, I just thought, I've got this, I can fix it. That's the biggest lie I think we as first responders, especially law enforcement, tell ourselves, because we the society fixers. The problem is we actually believe that for ourselves in our personal life, that we can fix anything that happens to us. And it was apparent pretty soon after we'd actually bought a house, and knew it wasn't going to work. And about to come to a head is Sunday morning. She gets up, strong cross follower, never moved away from, lost her faith during all of this. So I'm taking the kids to church. I'm like, well, I got to work a day shift, and I'm not going to church. So they go to church. I get my stuff together, and I'm going to go to the fire department, Pauls Valley, to do my night shift paperwork that I had from the previous night. I leave. I didn't think I turned on maybe one radio. I get a half mile from my house. We live by this lake north of town, and it was common to see cars parked at this lake entrance. People walk out there. I saw this pickup at the entrance. No big deal. I think I'm actually pulling with radios. And by the time I get bumper to bumper, I see somebody jump from behind it, and he's got a shotgun. And by the time I get to his rear bumper, he's coming down, lowering it from me to you. I mean, we're that close. I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to get shot. And you couldn't go anywhere on that. And at that time, they put computers in our cars, all right here.
Center console.
And I remember I seen the muzzle coming down, and I leaned over as far as I could, and I started hearing rounds go off. And on the accelerator, and I went a distance, and I was going off this ditch when I raised my head back up, and I cut it around, and I get on the radio. I was like, hey, Ardmore, I started going back to Iraq stuff. I'm like, I'm in contact. Nobody knew what that meant, you know, and I think I said, I've been ambushed, shots fired. And I look back at the truck, and I can't see the guy. We're probably about 100 yards from each other. He's in a good tactical fighting position up on a hill. I'm not. I'm downhill, not where you want to be. And I mean, I was telling you earlier, at that point, I carried a short barrel Noveske for my business gun, and I had a 18-inch DDM suppressed, kind of a Mark 12 rifle with the 4-power ACOG on it, just for longer stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna kill this guy. And I jumped out, and I grabbed my Mark 12, fixed stock. I mean, it was freaking probably 30-something inches long with the suppressor on it. Not what you want to be fighting with inside of a car, but I didn't plan to fight inside my car. I went to prone, passenger side, and I was waiting on him. Like, he's got to come back to the driver's side door. And as soon as I see his head, I'm going to shoot him in the head. Well, I don't know if he saw me. I don't know how he would see me, but maybe it was his lucky time not to die right then, because he jumped in from the passenger side, which I couldn't see. The next thing I saw was, because he'd stayed low, I saw tail lights kick on, and he's gone. So I didn't get a shot on him there. And this shootout's on video. It's pretty wild. I tell him I'm in pursuit, and shots have been fired. we're going westbound on this county road. Normally, there's you work in rural, you don't have partners out with you.
Mhm.
But one of my partners was out and I didn't know it. Well, he was on the other side of me, so we were gonna meet in the middle.
Mhm.
It's a real hilly road, and he tells me where he's at, and I could tell the bad guy sees him. Shotgun comes out the window, and he's loading rounds in the tube again.
Mhm.
I was like, "Hey, man, he's gonna shoot you. Pull over and get behind your engine block." Him and I were out of the same academy together, and he didn't question it. He pulls over, um, does exactly what I told him to do. The guy slows down and is looking for him. And I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. So
Mhm.
I catch up to him, spin him out the TVI, and I was trying to get my short barrel,
Mhm.
but I'd laid that Mark 12 in my lap, and I couldn't get up. And for some reason I couldn't get my short barrel out. I carried it right here on the passenger side. I'm like, man, I guess I got to get it on with this freaking long monstrous AR with a 4 power ACOG at 15 yards.
Mhm.
So he gets out, he takes cover. I beat him out though, and he's coming around the rear. I'd moved. He was looking for me.
Mhm.
And as he comes around, he starts slowing the shotgun down, and I'm like, no. It's like almost being on a range, and like you know where your target's gonna be. That was the
Mhm.
first time that happened, where it was just stagnant, just doom on you. You walked around the wrong corner, and I killed him. And I remember walking up to him, and he's dying.
Mhm.
Good shot placement. First thing I looked at, by the way, not to be sick or anything,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
I
but
like to know.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a trainer, and I spend a lot of time, and I say it for this reason. He's looking at me, and I'm standing over him. This is the second time I knew whatever's human in me had gone. I felt nothing for this guy, nothing. And he was probably my age.
Mhm.
Like, I think I did that. Like, sorry,
Mhm.
but not really sorry. That's not normal.
Mhm.
You don't want to be a non-human. And so I get home, things go south. I move back to my farm. I'm on admin leave, and I go into town a couple weeks later, mainly for alcohol. And I'm going to run by the grocery store, actually Walmart, and I'm in there by myself, and I get a tap in the back of my shoulder, and I turn around. There's this kid, 15, 16, somewhere in there. He said, "Hey, you Danny Long?" I said, "Yeah, man, what's up?" He said, "You murdered my dad."
Wow.
That he was trying to say something about taking him fishing. His dad was taking him fishing, and I just ran. And I stayed drunk for I don't know how long. But, that's the stuff that how do you prepare for that, you know? I mean, that's
Mhm.
not what you wanna hear. Just kids hurting. I mean, I always had a soft spot for kids, and, that one hurt. Still hurts me. So, I don't remember a whole lot after that for weeks. I just checked out. I mean,
Mhm.
I had a big farm, and you couldn't get I was in the middle of nowhere, so nobody I think people were afraid of me too,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It weird. Um, started thinking about suicide then. That would have been 2012, 2013. When I first thought about killing myself, like making a plan
Mhm.
for it. Hmm. Get cleared off that one, get back on the road, and just a few weeks later, I'm out by myself and I get a call. U.S. Marshals are chasing an escapee out of Louisiana. Been robbing banks in Dallas, and I don't know why. I can't remember why he came to Oklahoma, but I took over the pursuit, and he had a pistol. This was a wild man. I I took over the pursuit, maybe McLean County, south of Oklahoma City, and going southbound on
Mhm.
I-35. When I got behind him, he got off at a exit ramp, went underneath I-35, and started going on s- northbound on ramp. So he's going the wrong way.
Mhm.
I was trying to shoot him then when he did that because I'm like, this is not going to end
Mhm.
well. Busy. I'm at daylight, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Hmm. So, and we're going about 100, 110. He's got a bag of cocaine. He's in a Chevy, I believe it's a Chevy short bed truck he had stolen in Dallas. And he's snorting cocaine, but he's got a no, he had his driver's side window down. And every time he snort out of the bag, I could see this white powder. I'm like, what is that? You know? And I see his pistol. Then we get South Pauls Valley, and he'd almost hit several cars. I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, I've never shot in this position, going 100 miles an hour out my driver's side window
Mhm.
across the interstate. I don't know where you go replicate something like that,
Wow.
but I'm like, I got to shut him down.
Mhm.
Grab the Noveske short barrel, and run aim point T1, and I start looking for a position.
Mhm.
Drive with this hand, cradle of the short barrel across my elbow, canted slightly so I could still see the road, check for oncoming traffic, or I find my dot.
Mhm.
I think I can do this. Um, so I got an opening, and I start putting rounds in and blew out. I think that driver's passenger side window, and he knows what's going on now.
Mhm.
And I don't think I got a lot of impact into him at that point. He didn't react, but he started snorting more and more
More
cocaine.
cocaine.
And another trooper had shot at him from an overpass. The further we go, then he crashes out, and I'd shot several rounds at that point.
Mhm.
We're like, okay, he's bleeding out or something. No, he bails out of this truck and heads to the woods. And so me and another trooper, we chase him down and he gets hung up. I actually blew out his lung. His right lung finally
Mm.
collapsed, and his body shut down on him. And so I'm off on admin leave on that one. And you know,
And that was just weeks after,
maybe a few months.
few months after the first. I want to go back to the first just for a couple things. Um, what was the guy? Was it just an ambush he had set up on you? Was it something that he was just going to take somebody out?
So this guy, come to find out, he had a long history of mental problems. That weekend, he'd shot up a relative's home. A few years before that, he'd shot himself with a large caliber rifle and survived it. And I guess the sheriff's department had been hunting him all weekend. I didn't know about it for whatever reason. So I don't think he was targeting me. I don't know
Being
why he
the
was
one
there.
law
Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah,
Well, I mean, the story with that kid, I mean, that's haunting. I
it
mean,
is.
that, you told me on the phone that, and I was just like thinking about that. Um, I mean, that would affect anybody. And it's just,
Yeah,
uh, just haunting. I can't imagine being in that position. So you get done with that. Months later, you get in this. Was that your
mhm,
first shooting in
yeah,
law enforcement?
yeah.
Okay. Um, so when that happened to you in Walmart, you brought up earlier, you don't really feel like you have much humanity left in you. Do you feel like that, as horrifying that was, do you feel like that may have given you just a glimpse, like there's some left in there?
No, not then.
Not at that point.
Mm-mm. You know, and I've told that part of that story several times. Sometimes I never know when it's gonna hit me, but
Mhm.
I know what my triggers are, and they're with kids.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to think it's all got to be about the shootout, or
Mhm.
maybe most people don't get in one shootout in their career.
Mhm.
Um, but kids, anything kid related,
Mhm.
had massive impacts on me. And not too far before that, in the same year, there was a horrific crash because I was a road trooper, and there was this Hispanic family that rolled I think it was a minivan,
Mhm.
ejected everybody. There was mom and dad and 3 kids. And I was the first one there, and I started seeing these little bodies. And I drug all the 3 little kids together because I gotta do CPR on them, and I just started doing CPR just back and forth on all 3. And, that that did something to me. I started that was probably one of the times that I recognized the emotional toll that this job does. And 'cause that was on during the day. I went to the Pauls Valley Fire Department gym that night. I didn't wanna go home. I just wanted to work out. That's all I wanted to do. I had blood all over my uniform. So I took my shirt off and my vest, and I just started working out. Well, I'd still on the computer, CAD at Ardmore, I was still 10-8 in service. So I started getting these phone calls from them, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. Then my supervisor called me. I answered it, immediately started yelling. And I'm like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I'm like, hung up,
Mhm.
called back, and we had verbal altercation. It didn't go well. Then my true commander called me. That one didn't go well. And I got disciplined over it. And then a short time later, there was this other kid. It was a brother was driving. So I know he was 16, and maybe a 14 or 15-year-old sister was riding up front with him. One of them forgot their books, and they were going to turn around and go back home to get them. They pulled out in front of I think it was a cement truck.
Mm.
She was still alive. I got there first, and I had to crawl in through the back glass is the only thing I could get in, and he was trapped in there too. And I could hear him screaming, to save his sister. And I could just like hold her and try to keep her airway open. And she's starting to gargle and trying to clear her airway out. And same thing happened that night. I just wanted to go work out. I got in trouble again, had another altercation because they didn't bother to check why I'm still out.
Mhm.
I had blood all over me on that one. And it's like, do y'all even care about what we do? I
Mhm.
mean, do you even know what I've done today to try to save that little girl's life? It's like, I can go back there and I can tell you that those two and leading up to those next two gunfights and all, I was just like, I was probably at F3 tornado, and people in Oklahoma know what the tornado scale, F1 being low end tornado,
Mhm.
F1 being the worst thing on the planet of destruction. I was moving from F3 to F4
Mhm.
at that time and I knew it. I mean, I was recognizing all the personal destruction in my life
Mhm.
that I caused for my immediate family. And yeah, just the whole toll of everything. The gunfights themselves, I mean it, here's something I've heard. Um and my granddad, World War II vet, deployed I mean, he was gone for like 3 years at one time before he came home in combat. We were having these conversations before he died as I was getting into the patrol. He said, "Well, you never really know how you're going to react till you're in that situation." And I looked at him. I said, "Well, I know. I've always known." And first time I kind of went back to that 10, 11, 12-year-old where I tried to stick that guy with my buck knife that
Mhm.
touched my mom, then running in our house,
Mhm.
clearing it. I mean, I would have killed that guy if I'd have found him in our home.
Mhm.
And I've heard that throughout the years from different trainers. Well, you never really know how you're gonna react. And I'm like, well, I disagree. Maybe for some people,
Mhm.
um, but before I even got in the military, before I got in law enforcement, I would always start running scenarios through my head. Why? I have no idea.
Mhm.
It it was just me. And if this happens, this is what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
And so and what that does, me being me now, learning the mental health side and the biological side of how we respond to things. Me mentally preparing wasn't just my mental, it was my moral compass. Like, okay, it's okay to kill somebody
Mhm.
in the right circumstance.
Mhm.
And that nobody really wants to say that word,
Mhm.
but it's I believe it's okay to kill.
Mhm.
Um, if that's what needs to be done. And
Mhm.
I've always looked at it from that perspective before I knew the legal justifications that U.S. Supreme Court case law set down that gives us the right
Mhm.
and the ability to defend ourselves.
Mhm.
Before I knew any of that, I knew it in here. And that litmus test that when I started in that profession and started really diving into use of force,
Mhm.
understanding what protects us from law enforcement as law enforcement, to defend others and ourselves,
Mhm.
it was always a 2 check for me every time, because I could have killed a lot more people
Mhm. Yeah.
that met the legal obligation, the ability, action intent was met, but the my second test was that moral
Mhm.
thing. Yeah, I legally can kill you right now,
Mhm.
but it's not the right thing to do
Mhm.
right at this second. Um, and I think that's left out of training a lot of time
Mhm.
also, because like suicide, nobody really wants to talk about these dark things that
Mhm.
truly matter when it happens. So I believe in just totally being vulnerable
Mhm.
and speaking truth for what I believe to be truth, and standing on it.
Mhm. I firmly believe the same way. I've always felt that there is a time when taking a life is necessary. Um, but I also believe that, and this comes up all the time, and not only the company that I have now, CCW Safe, dealing with concealed carriers, but in other conversations, um, I've been in one shooting on the department. If you talk about how many shootings you could have been in,
Exactly.
there's, I mean, in the gang unit, my gun was out of the holster more than it was in.
Yep.
Another thing you brought up, which I think is very important, is visualization. When I was in impact, I would, 2 years, I would fall asleep at night running through different houses, different scenarios. Uh, Usually, get home around 2 o'clock, and that second shift type schedule. It's not as easy to go to sleep as a third shift, and you come home, and I would find myself, pretty much nightly, laying down, getting quiet, getting in my head, and you start running through different scenarios, and then your mind. I always felt, for me personally, your mind always tries to stack everything up against you so much to the point where you can't win. So you have to kind of like, I talked to my daughter about it, about like I see it as a like a VCR tape where you have to rewind because you get yourself into these positions, you rewind, and then you work through it. Um, I think that point is something that I don't know today what that's like, but when I was in, visualization was
Absolutely.
very heavy. I learned it a lot from judo.
Yeah, it's no different than being on a mat,
Mhm.
or you're working with a gun.
Mhm.
That pre-mental prep, if it's not there, you gotta revert back to what,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, that's another one of my favorite quotes. I have it on all my emails. Is we do not rise to the level or expectations. We fall to the level of our training.
True.
And if you don't have training, which I considered visualization to be a huge part of that,
Absolutely.
what are you going to fall back on? Where were you on that um, first shooting? You, you you had moved back and you got back with your wife, but were you separated at that point?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the second one come months after. Was there any kind of like, when I had my shooting, it was in '96, so there really wasn't. I mean, I don't even think we had peer support at that time. I think it was we had the chaplain and chaps, but we didn't really have, I never went to counseling on that, never had any kind of peer support. After that first one, was there any of that for you?
Yes. And so we had a peer team, good guys, probably not the right guys.
Mm,
It was more of a who wants to be on the peer team, and it's usually people on their way out,
mhm,
not proactive, 100% reactive. So they would show up on every scene completely turned off by it just because, like I said, good guys. I don't have anything personally against them,
Mhm.
but I know, I mean, it's like you know everybody on the department.
Mhm.
You know who's done what. I'm not going to talk to you. There's no way you're going to relate to what's inside here. The more you try to make me, the more angry it made me.
Mhm.
And and we had mandatory follow up with we had a doc on staff, so mandatory fit for duty,
Mhm.
and they called it a counseling session. It's not a counseling session, and I've changed that now. Um, I believe being transparent,
Mhm.
especially with that mental health stuff, because
Mhm.
you shouldn't be trying to hide anything in what we're doing. Just call it what it is. That is really not counseling. That's to make sure you're okay to return to duty physically and mentally so the department can check that liability box. And that's fine. That's got to happen.
Mhm.
Um, I looked at it different. I'm like, they're not helping me, but you're saying you're helping me, but this is not.
Mhm.
And yes, I went multiple times, but uh, I think it started from that initial contact with that
Mhm.
peer team, set the stage of, I'm not gonna talk
Mhm.
to you, I'm not gonna talk to anybody when I go in for fit for duty,
Mhm.
and it remained that way up until 2015.
You had talked about earlier about, uh, the idea of taking your own life and starting that plan. Was that still going on during these shootings?
Oh, yeah.
And I know we had talked before about out the pond,
Mhm.
and if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about that. I'd like to talk about the last shooting
Mhm.
and kind of talk about that process of getting through that and then ultimately back to the life you're at now.
Mhm. So 2012, I get recruited to the marshal's office for the fugitive task force,
Mhm.
and they called, explained what they do, think it'll be a good fit. And I'm still on admin leave from that second shooting.
And is that second shooting kinda what set that up?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Um, so I'm like, well, work it out with the commissioner and chief of the patrol. I'm in.
Mhm.
I mean, it full-time tag team is basically what it is.
Mhm.
You know, really getting to go after the most problematic people in society. And you know, we talked about it some. I still had a really big chip on my shoulder
Mhm.
at that point. Probably still do. I'll just use it for different things. So I get to the marshals 2012, and just shortly after I'm there, we have another shooting,
Mhm.
and two people were killed. I shoot the driver um, in Oklahoma City. That his wife ends up getting killed too, and off on admin leave again. That one was not good for me. No regrets killing him. I
Mhm.
mean, he tried to run over one of my partners. I mean, I'd do it again right now for
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
Um, we got sued through the marshal service. Then they came after me in my individual capacity
Mhm.
and leaving some other people out of it. And I was shooting a 357 SIG. I shot that guy with the Glock
Mhm.
357 SIG round. I was the only one carrying 357 SIG. The female was hit by a 40 cal in the
Mhm.
head. I knew who did it. The autopsy came back, pulled the slug out. Definitely a 40 cal round. And I was shooting those solid carbon.
Mhm.
with
350
core
cal.
bond, solid copper. Nobody else had that at that point. And all mine hit him in this area, but I'm the one being targeted. And this goes on and on. And I mean, I get through the media. They interviewed this crackhead that was standing on the service road at, where were we at? Southeast 44 and I-35, that hotel drug alley right in there. So I think it was 4 or 5, Channel 4 or 5 interviewed this guy. It's like, yeah, this one marshal just walked up and executed this guy for no reason. And they aired it, and all of that started building up. Then I got sent to Southeast Oklahoma on a federal escapee, and I got involved in another huge FBI investigation and I was threatened with prison time over this one. And 2015 rolls around. I'm in the middle of both of them are still going on. And I didn't think I could drink more, but I did. And I'm full blown F5 tornado. That, and it's starting to carry over into my work now. I know it is. So the fall of 2015, I'm at my farm, and I wake up, go in the bathroom, I'm in underwear, that's it. I had this wall mirror hanging as soon as you walk in the bathroom. Second time this happened, I told you the first time it happened was on the phone. My daughter took a pic of me. As I come in the bathroom, I see this long-haired, bearded guy. I'm like, why is somebody in my house? Happening real quick. And I'm like, okay, he's here. We're going to fight it out. So I go to do a double leg takedown, smash my head on the sink, and I'm on my knees. I'm raised up, look in the mirror, and it's me. And I remembered that pic my daughter took. I started crying, got up, put on shorts, tennis shoes, started drinking, walked outside, grabbed my Noveski, started walking to the back of my farm. And I made it back to the far pond, the last pond my granddad and I built together before he died. Sat down, I drank for a while. Took the suppressor off, threw it down, loaded my AR. Before I go any further, I'm heavy into weapons maintenance. That, my business gun, I never took the suppressor off. So, all the carbon builds up where it attaches to your muzzle. When I took that off, I shot at least 5 days a week at my range. Tons of carbon buildup. Shove it in my mouth, flip it off safe, go to squeeze the trigger, and carbon starts breaking off. And I start gagging, so I pull it out, spit it out. And I'm like, all right. I don't know how long it was. I stuck it back in there. Same thing happened. More carbon. This time I was throwing up. And like, I'm just going to stick it to my forehead. As soon as I touched the muzzle to my forehead, the only thing I remember this doc ever said to me, and I'd went to her just months before. And as I was leaving her office, she said, Danny, stop. I turned around and said, what do you want? She said, if you kill yourself, your kids are 2 to 3 times more likely to kill themselves in adulthood. She said, now get out of my office. Threw me out of her office. I was mad. I'm like, why'd she tell me that? I mean, she knew. After all those years of being with her and all those fit for duty, she knew what was coming. Because I never told anybody any of this. Not her, not anybody, what I'd been planning. And I heard the woman say that to me just like she was sitting next to me. Soon as the muzzle hit my forehead, I threw my gun down. I was crying. And I was mad at everybody. I was cussing God out, drink. This is an all day event. I mean, and I'm like, you know what? I did everything. All the destructive things I've let happen. And it's up to me, nobody else, if I want to fix this. I grabbed my AR, unloaded it, threw the whiskey bottle in the pond, and I text that doc. I said, I need help. Exactly what I told her. And I put my phone up and started walking back to my barn, about a mile walk. Before I got back to my barn, she'd replied, she's like, you need what? What kind of help or something? I said, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I just need help. I didn't tell her what I'd just done. She said, be here in the morning. So I got back to my barn and I got out a notepad. Still got this piece of paper somewhere. I come across it about once a year. And at the top of it, I wrote uncomfortable, underlined it, and I wrote promise 1, promise 2. And promise 1 was I'm going to do anything necessary to get healthy. Promise 2 was I'm going to do everything necessary to stay healthy when I get there. And I started making a list. I took this list with me and I sat down with her the next day. She knew I was serious. And I still didn't tell her for a while what had happened. And that's when the journey began. And by 2017, I'd text my ex-wife. I wanted her to know what I'd been doing for no other reason. That took some time. She finally agreed to meet me in her front yard. She's like, what do you want? I was like, here's what's been happening the last 2 years. I really feel something's different in me. She said, okay, I hope it works out for you. Walks in. Didn't respond back to me. I kept contacting her. Finally agrees to meet again, then again, then again. Early 2018, we go to coffee or something. Then we go on a date. And it's apparent then, I mean, maybe we're going to get back together. So I finally asked her one day. I went over to her house. She was in the bathroom putting on makeup. I'll never forget this. I said, are we going to get married or what? She stopped, looked at me. She said, I don't know that I'll ever want to marry you. I don't know that I'll ever trust you, ever. I said, that's fair. She said, but I've been praying about this. God wants me to marry you. God wants me to give you another chance. I don't want to. She said, but I trust you over God. And I didn't know how to take that. I got mad actually, and I left. I don't remember if I left the house or I know I walked outside and really thought about what she had told me. And when it bounced around my head enough, I'm like, she's real. She means what she says. And I wanted to get back into our church. And so didn't get married right away, but we knew we were headed that way. So we kept dating. And my son is graduating from high school May of 2018. And we were planning a trip. We were going to take him and some friends on a cruise the day after graduation. I'm still with the Marshal Service. Probably need to back up a little bit. During that time from 2015, I ventured out because I was on admin leave a lot for investigation. I don't sit around a whole lot. I got to stay busy. My granddad left me some opportunities to pursue a private business. I knew nothing about this industry, oil and gas.
Mhm.
He kept it to himself. And I made a shot at participating as a partner in a well that I knew nothing about, lost everything.
Mhm.
And one of my best friends and his brother, they're both really good friends of mine. I reached out to the brother and I said, I'm ashamed to tell you this. I told him what had happened with that oil and gas venture.
Mhm.
He said, well, I'm kind of hurt as a friend because he's lifelong oil and gas guy.
Mhm.
He said, I can't believe you didn't call and ask me for guidance. I said, well, that's what I'm doing now. He said, okay, you want to get your money back or you want to learn this industry? I'm like, I want to learn. I had no idea why, but I was really interested in this market for some reason.
Mhm.
So I started meeting with him and really almost being tutored. Started making smaller investments and finally got my money back. It took a while, but man, I'll say I was broke. I was broke, like not eating some broke.
Mhm.
And fast forward to 2018, he had called me, that oil and gas partner, and
Mhm.
he said, I want you to partner with me in my company. One of my long-term partners is stepping out and all of his operations is out of state. And I'm like, why are you doing this? He said, because I got to have somebody I trust and I want to have fun with, no matter what we're doing. He said, I got to have those two things or I can't do anything with you. And I'm like, well, I don't bring much to the table. He said, we're still learning. We're going to figure this out. And did our first few wells together and they were doing good.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed it. And I was learning something totally different
Mhm.
and really diving into it. And it kept growing. And well, I ventured off into another private business. It started making money. So back to May of 2018, what we hadn't told anybody, my wife and I, or we were not remarried then.
Mhm.
We come back from this vacation. I'm retiring from law enforcement. I'm just going to pursue this private industry that I was in. And I was excited about it. Day before graduation, and I was on leave. I started burning annual leave.
Mhm.
Um, I'd already packed up all my gear. I was gonna turn in my marshal unit when I got back. Only thing I had in my car was my kit, my Noveski, and a go bag.
Mhm.
Everything else was packed into tubs.
Mhm.
I'm on a ladder. My wife had to work that day, and my responsibility was getting stuff ready for the graduation party. I was on a ladder in our backyard. My phone rang, and it was my boss from the marshals. He said, I know you're off. Any chance you could come to work? I said, no. I said, I've said yes since I was 18 years old. I never said no to them or any other organization I was a part of.
Mhm.
Never said no. I said, why? He said, Secret Service been chasing this guy for 3 years all over the country. He's popped up south of Norman at a house. Don't ask me why. They want us to take it over. He said, I've kind of got a bad feeling about this. I'm like, they're all bad guys. They're all bad feelings. I mean, there's high
Mhm.
potential of violence at every one. And he's like, I'm sorry I called. I shouldn't have called you. Hung up. I'm on the ladder just staring at my phone, mad. A teammate calls me. Benny, are you coming up? I got a bad feeling. I don't know if I said anything to him. I just hung up. Slid down the ladder, cussing. I was mad. I
Mhm.
didn't call anybody, didn't tell my wife, didn't change. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. I drive to this meeting location. I said, I'm going to stay here till noon. If he's not out of the house, I'm leaving. 11:55 hits. Nothing has happened. I get out, take my kid off. Said, I'm going in that store, get a Gatorade, and I'm going home. Fair enough. As I walk out of the store, pop the top of my blue Gatorade. I've always had a blue Gatorade since Fort Benning. As I'm unscrewing the thing, I see all my partners tearing off out of the parking lot.
Mhm.
This is the first time this has ever happened. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this Gatorade. I'm drinking it. I don't know if it's me dreaming this up or what. I knew good people were going to get hurt, and I was going to be the one killing this guy. Finished my Gatorade. I threw it in the trash. I walked to my car, not in a hurry, put my kid on, checked my Noveski, press check, good to go. Laid it in my lap. I didn't even follow them. I went a different direction.
Mhm.
And, well, guess what? A mile later, bad guy pulls out in front of me. And one of my teammates, one of the deputy marshals, is right behind him. He's in the bad guy's in a Chevy 2500,
Mhm.
black, nice truck. He stops, he gets out, AR-15, 300 blackout suppressed, shoots my partner. Before he can get out, he falls over. I can see blood. I
Mhm.
know my partner's seriously injured. And I haven't even stopped. So I'm still approaching them, but I can see all this happening. Bad guy's walking around because he can't see my partner. And he's walking and shooting, getting in front so he can get a clear shot of my partner from about 5 yards. And I'm like, well, I don't have time to get out. Laid the rifle on the dash, got a good sight picture, shot 5, 6 times. I know I hit him.
Mhm.
He reacted because he spun around on me and dumped the rest of the magazine in my Ford Explorer. So I get out, I get behind, glasses hitting me all over. I'm at the rear of my vehicle and I'm looking for him. And him and I are exchanging fire now at probably 30, 40 yards. What I notice, I'm shooting left side barricade, kneeling. Then I go to rollover prone. It's the first time I ever shot rollover prone outside of a range. I'm shooting rollover prone, trying to shoot his legs out. I got back up to my knee. I'd had a lock back, load fresh mag, and I move to the right rear of my Ford Explorer looking for, because he disappeared.
Mhm.
He had these big oversized tires.
Mhm.
I knew he's hiding behind probably the front or rear. Couple more rounds impacted, and I blew this ear out again. I couldn't hear anything. I could feel the rounds hitting my car.
Mhm.
Another deputy marshal pulls up right next to me, and I'm telling him to just get in the floorboards while I'm screaming at him. He gets out. As soon as he gets out, opens his door. It's like the Matrix. I could see the bullet coming. Goes through his driver's side glass door, hits him. He's down. And but I still can't see the guy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, he's probably dead, because I mean, he's flat. And I went to rollover prone again. I'm like, he's got to be. I'm like, he's got to be at the front of the vehicle to where his truck was at a weird angle, and I'm like, he's got to be shooting from the front of the car.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna focus on that front tire. and I'm rollover prone. I got a good side picture, and I'm just switching my dot. Front side of the tire, rear side of the tire. I don't know where the leg's gonna come out. I saw his muzzle sweep out. Then I start seeing it going up. He's doing a reload. He plants his right foot out, and I mean it right in front of my dot. I didn't have to move it. I just squeezed. I think I hit 2 or 3 times, and I seen his leg bend like it's not supposed to bend. So good impacts. I'm like, he should be screaming right now. Nothing. I'm like, maybe I can't hear him because I wasn't shooting his press at that time. Different Noveski. Nothing. And I'm waiting there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up in case he's trying to stand up and I can't see it. So I stand up and I'm waiting, nothing. And I see my partner, the first deputy that got hit. He's crawling on his face, trying to get to the back of his car. And I'm yelling at him like, Travis, just stop. I don't know where he's hit. I can just see blood. And I got to go get tourniquets on him. And I'm looking for the bad guy. Can't see him. And as I start to, I'm like, all right, I'm going to Travis. As I don't even make it 2 steps. The guy stands up and is walking normal, which messed with my mind. I'm like, okay, maybe I missed him. But he's focusing on trying to kill that first deputy marshal. I don't know if I don't know what he was thinking. Lost track of me though, which is his final mistake because he stepped out in front of his Chevy 2500 right in front of me like you are, 25 yards maybe. And wow. So I kill him, get to my partner, start working on him, then realize I'm like, what about my other partner? Hit his best. I know this because I found the bullet later. We get my partner packaged up, get him in an ambulance, and going to guess what hospital where my wife is. I'm like, listen, they're like, you got to go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm going to go over there and sit in this dish. The sun was, there was real tall trees out there. I don't remember the road that it's on. Very tall trees, and the sun was just coming up over that canopy. I want to, I just want to go sit in the ditch, face the sun, just close my eyes for a minute, think about this. And my partner that rolled up secondly, he comes, sits down beside me. And I look over at him and he's saying something. I can't hear anything. And I'm like, I reach up to grab his shoulder or something. And I see that 300 blackout bullet fall. And I'm looking at it, I point at it and I look at him. He's like, that ain't mine. I was like, I know it's not yours, but it's connected to you now, or something like that. And like he was in denial of it. They're like, you got to go to the hospital. So they put me in a POV and they're driving me to the hospital. And I realized I had called my wife. She don't know anything's going on. And I finally get in touch with her. I text her. I tried to call her. She didn't answer. Text her like, I need to talk to you. 911. She calls. I was like, hey, I just killed somebody. Been in a gunfight. She's like, what? She thought I was at home decorating. I said, I came to work. One of the guys is about to pull up at the ER in an ambulance, and I'm not too far behind. So we get there, and we go home that night. And my kids are there, she's there, my mom's over, and some other friends would come by. What I noticed, they'd be talking, and I'd kind of move in there to start talking. They'd get quiet. So I finally asked, what's going on? She said, Danny, to be honest with you, everybody probably thinks you're going to disappear like you always have, go to the farm, not be heard from, do whatever you do, go back to your old self. I said, that's fair. Didn't say anything else. I stayed there that night. As soon as I laid down, it hit me. I mean, like a bolt of lightning, it hit me, and I jumped out of bed. This is the first time I didn't want to go drink. This is the first time I didn't want to be away from my family. And I don't want to say it bothered me, but that was not the norm for me. Then my mind really started racing. Like, all this worked, all this therapy, and all the other treatments that I did, it's real. Like, if I can do this, get through it, anybody can. And I think I started writing notes that night to what would become the Oklahoma First Responder Wellness Division, and that's how it was born. And so for the next year, that's what I began to work on, writing that 8-year plan to present, not ever intending for me to run that operation, but because I plan on retiring, like I said, and but I just felt this need to go implement this. And it quickly became apparent that I needed to be the one leading the effort, and here I am, in 2025, been running this program fully since 2020, and now we've got 13, 14 people working there, therapists, peers, and not just any peer. The remaining people that was on that peer team, I fired. Not nefarious, not to be mean.
Get the
But
right people in.
I wanted the right people, and that took a year to start recruiting. Every peer that's there now didn't want to be a peer.
Those are the people you want.
That's it, because I didn't want to be a peer. And that's how we made the strides that we've had. And it's a simple thing as that, getting the right person to that right problem that officers went through immediately, that set the stage for what's going to happen over the next months, years to come. Positive outcome, negative outcome. You got to trust the process because this trusted member that's lived it out himself has been there, done that, and is going to walk you through this because he's or she's done the same thing. That's the difference maker. And I think they've tried to over problem the problem, making it more difficult, and it's that simple. It just takes effort to find these people, and they're out there. I mean, you know them, I know them. They're all around us, and that's been one of the most noble things I think I've ever done from ground up.
And you're at a point now to where you're ready to release that and move on to.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing I left out is in February of 2019, my wife and I remarried. And I tell people this too. I don't want people to think, oh, well, I'm a failure because I'm divorced or I got a divorce. S- That's my life. That's my path. Divorce and marriage takes two people. And sometimes divorce is the option. I get that. And I don't want anybody to think badly of themselves just because I got my wife back. I and my wife and I had this discussion maybe in 2020, 21, that we realized we were brought back together not for us, because we've helped other couples. We actually led a marriage group last year for a full year at our church, and just small little things like that remind you of, like, I didn't just bring you back together for you to be happy and stay in your home. Much bigger plan and purpose behind that. But it was a battle. It's still a battle. I mean, we don't have the perfect marriage. There's none out there. We went to marriage counseling for almost 2 years, 2.5 years, and it was the best thing we've ever done. You can't force marriage counseling when one party doesn't wanna go, because it's not gonna work. But we were fine because 'cause we'd tried marriage counseling before, but either one of us was in, one was out, and it just wasn't working. That time, we both wanted to figure out the cause of our problems, and it was truly learning how to communicate individually and as a couple, and I never have known that. Um, that's what is gonna keep our marriage thriving, because I never intend to ever be away from that woman again until I'm dead. Um, but it's work, and it's not, you know, my misconception was when we were married young, she's supposed to make me happy. She's the center of my happiness. Furthest thing from the truth. You're responsible for your own happiness, and not one person. Now they can add to that happiness, but I solely put it on her to make me happy. And so it's a recipe for disaster with all these unrealistic expectations. And so, I mean, it is still work. I mean, it's like a garden. You got to work on that thing every day.
I went through that. I'm divorced, but I went through that failure period because I go to church and it was always like, you have to fight for it, you have to fight for it. And that's all I was hearing. And it was like, so frustrating because it was like, dude, I can't, it takes two to be able to put in. And it took me a long time to get past that. In fact, I got out of church for quite some time. And then, having kids, going through all the parent alienation stuff that was, I've been through, Oklahoma City bombing shootings, uh, lost my left eye, uh, you know, pretty major life events, and all that shit together didn't compare to, that time of going through it with the kids.
That's it.
And,
Horrible.
oh, well, I got a couple questions, just follow up. Um, you said your mom was there that night, so just kind of wondering kind of what the end outcome was with your mom, stepdad, and grandparents. Because it sounded like your grandparents really were there for you. Was that correct during that time?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So my real dad was killed when I was 2, maybe, in a motorcycle accident. I never knew him. And she remarried my stepdad 5, 6 years old. Um, and so during that time, I would stay with my grandparents a lot, even as, adolescence, and up until when I moved in with them when I was 16. Um, but my granddad was more like a dad to me, really a mentor in a lot of ways. And he passed um, just after I got on the highway patrol. And that was the only man that could talk to me, talk sense into me. And when he passed, like I had no other form of male that I would let speak into me. And part of the problem. My stepdad was still alive then. Um, that final when I left there, when I left the farm when I was 16, it it was a deal. Um, like I said, we had our own arena. My sister and her husband, we'd rope usually on Tuesday, Thursdays. And my stepdad was a bull rider. We had a bucking shoot. And we buck bulls usually once a week. And I was never good at that. I was a good roper, and I'd had this horse that I think he was my healing horse. It was a paint, and I'd really close with this horse. And that night we were roping. My horse started acting up in the chute, and my stepdad came by and punched it in the face. I'm like, nope. So as he went to walk off, I roped him, hooked up. So I started dragging him, and my sister's yelling and all. I mean, it was a deal. And big arena. We had a really big arena. I don't remember if I dragged him around 2 or 3 times, but my brother-in-law finally grabbed my horse and shut me down, and I knew what was gonna happen next. 'Cause my dad, he was a tough dude, and I'm like, I might as well just get off the horse and try to get one in first. And I think I hit him one time. That's all I got in, and that was a pretty good ass whipping. And got up, dusted off, told him what I thought of him, that I'd never set foot on this place again, and packed up some clothes and I left. Never went back. Years later, I went back, but not until I don't think I went back there. Man, it might have been when I got on the patrol.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I know I didn't go back there for several years.
Yeah.
And then what really made me angry, and it's kind of ironic follow up on this part, I had my first son. Well, I have a son and a daughter. Son was first, and my stepdad, completely different person with him.
Really?
I mean, let the kid get away with murder, where I would get beat. And that bothered me. And I didn't know how to take it. My daughter was born, same thing. And so over the next couple of years before he died, we started having some talks. Then 2 different people he'd talked to that where he totally, I guess, broke down and had remorse about how he treated me. And even one night, I mean, he got that with me, and I don't think I ever told him it's okay. I kind of regret that part, but I'm glad he got it off his chest. I don't, I, I'm not a, I don't hold that in my heart anymore, and I try not to be resentful to people. I think that's bad for your heart. And at this part of my life, haven't always been like that. But what's interesting about that, we had our first grandson. Um, he's 11 months old, about to be a year old. So back in the summer, and our son and his wife just live about a mile from us, and my wife used to babysit him all the time, 3 days a week, and he's over at our house constantly, and I love it. My son walked in, and I was going to go to the shop to work out, and I thought I heard conversation, but I don't hear very well. So I come back in a little bit later, and I asked my wife, I said, did he say something about, she said, yeah, before I even got out of my mouth. What it was, she said, I wish Dad would have treated me like he treats my grandson. Man, I had to go back outside because that struck a nerve. And I've apologized to my son 1,000 times. My stepdad never told me he loved me one time. There's not a day that goes by now. My son's 25 and my daughter's 23. That I don't tell him I love him every day. And I'll do that till I'm dead. And, I'll never be able to make up that part of how I treated them out of their life when he was a young kid, but man, I'm trying to make up for it now. But, I just, you know, I think at the end of all of this, if I can help one person not get anywhere close to where I was at, that's a win. And I've had several people. Man, I announced this week I'm leaving the wellness division. I'm taking the deputy director spot at Cleat in Ada, starting November 1. I've had a lot of people reach out. As a matter of fact, I had to stop reading them. Is not a real emotional guy. Kids get me emotional, but I mean, I'm 51. I've started having these weird feelings where I do cry sometimes now. And I started reading this stuff about you forget about all the people that we've helped over the last 5 years that I've not forgot about. I just don't think about them because there's 10 more we got to go help today. And man, I was reading that last night. Actually, I'd read some. I'm like, I can't read that anymore. But I know the seed I planted here is probably the best seed I've ever done, to give back out of everything else I've ever done on this planet. And I'm going to do the same thing with my family until I'm dead. And that's pretty much what motivates me to get out of bed every morning right now. And I hope I always have that fire. I mean, you don't have to have a title to go do that. Um, you know, one of the biggest reasons I'm taking the position at Cleat as deputy director is I really feel I'm going to have a lot of say and a lot of control into what's going into our new officers, not just them, their spouse or their significant other, and really have a true impact that will carry on for generations. That's what I'm on fire about right now.
So I got one more question and then gonna wrap it up. But I just like to. I've been to a point where I haven't looked in the mirror and not recognized me physically, but I've looked in the mirror and not re- recognize me. Like,
Mhm.
who is this guy?
Yeah.
And if you could go back to that first time you had that feeling and tell that guy what he needs to do, what would that be?
Hmm. My wife asked me the exact same thing Monday. Um, I came up, there's a Highway Patrol Academy going on. They did their final workout, 5 a.m. at the Capitol, and I went up and met them. And I sent her a picture of all those cadets. And she called me. She said, reminded me of, she and I starting out in that. And she was involved in that academy life. And she said, what would you go back and tell that guy that was you? And I was like, hmm, you know, um, I don't know where I would start. I think probably the priority thing is the hierarchy of what's important and what's not. That saying what's important now principle. Uh, is that mine? Um, that would definitely be probably the number one thing. Um, all the other things that I thought I had to go do, you say yes to and be a volunteer, hands both up. Yes, I'll do it. All the time sacrificing my family, which ultimately is what built the wall and the wedge between us because I was gone all the time. And I that there was an intentional act. Did I do I think I intended to sabotage it like that? No. But I don't think you have to be intentional to sabotage your marriage and sabotage your marriage because you're just not aware and you're not paying attention to that hierarchy of where the priorities should be. And I know we say that all the time. We said it all the way to patrol school. Um, Family comes first, or God comes first, family, then the job. But I think we just said it. We didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And I lost track very, very quickly starting that. Some people do a really good job at it. A lot of us don't, though. And that would probably be, I would set me down and draw this out of what the possible outcomes are going to be should you continue on this path, not prioritizing your wife, your family, and by the way, you. I invested all this training over the years to go help everybody else. I did nothing to save me until it was almost too late. That's probably what I'd tell that guy.
That's great. Well, man, it's been an honor to meet you, have you here. Um, you've got a lot to give to people. You got a lot of experience that I think can do a lot of people good. You've proven that not just with your own personal self marriage, but then the wellness unit. And uh, it's going to be exciting to see you go into Cleat and see what you could do there. So man, thanks for being here. It's great to meet you, man. I love you, man. And if there's anything we can do for you, you let me know.
Mike, it's been an honor. I love what you're doing here. I believe it in 100% why you're doing it, or I wouldn't have came. And so thank you. Hope you continue this mission. I know it's going to help others in the future because there's a lot of us out there that need help.